Morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Um, Yesterday we talked a little bit about Dragonlance Chronicles, which was the first trilogy inside the now 200 plus book Dragonlance series of, uh, of books that go along with the D&D campaigns. The Today is Legends. So these guys right here. So over the summer, I reread these with my kids. I read them originally when they first came out. I have been reading these books long enough when I actually started reading them when Chronicles was the only thing available, and there were only two of those. So I actually waited for these and read them sort of as they were released the first time. The books themselves are really interesting to me because they build on what we learned in the previous books about the world of Krynn, about the universe in which this series exists. Because in the last one, we really fought the War of the Lance, right? The dragons had been gone and they disappeared. Nobody knew about Dragonlances anymore except as a thing of legend. And sort of how did all of that come about? Well, we lived through that. And this is the aftermath of that. So people have lost homes, they've lost family, they've lost friends. We heard about this thing called the cataclysm that came across when the old gods abandoned and the new gods came in, and you learned about all these historical things that went on, and so this one is a little bit different, and I think it's a hesitate to say better written series, but I think it really is because the Chronicle series was very rushed because there were release dates known, and for some reason the release dates and the writing were sort of behind a wall, so they had to really do it quickly because they changed authors at the front or something, and that's a whole story we can get into in a different video. But this one, there was more time. So the authors, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, fantastic writing duo, um, I think had a chance to really kind of dig in and really do things properly when you have enough uh, bandwidth to do it. But this one, we have a character, a couple of characters being sent back in time, so we actually get to live through the cataclysm. And we get to live through some of the stuff we heard about rather than just having it, oh yeah, this happened and that happened. Right now, you actually get to experience it, and then you get to come forward in time and see how have things changed, have they stayed the same? What's really happened. But to me, it's really interesting because we got to see the War of the Lance, and then we got to hear about the Cataclysm, and this time we get to see the Cataclysm, and then come back to where the War of the Lance has already taken place. We sort of pick up where we left off, and it's really cool. I really enjoyed this series, and you learn a lot more about, especially these two guys right here. The It's just amazingly well written. I think it sort of digs you deeper into the world of Krynn. And for me, the first three series, the first trilogy, the first three book series, I think launched this three-book series. This three-book series, I think, launched the next 200 plus books because it had just been Chronicles, and people were like, "Oh, hey, let's commission 200 plus copies of." I don't think that happens, right? I don't think you pick up. Okay, now we're going to do this and this and this and this and this, and I don't think anybody ever planned for it to be 200 books, but I do think that once you got past these three, man, the tempo picked up, right? It wasn't just Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman anymore. It was now edited by when they brought in other authors, as you can see on some of the covers here. And that was great. And we'll discuss those books as we come to them. But these three, I think, are so well done that, yes, they couldn't exist without the Chronicles. And I think the Chronicles really deserve the credit for getting to these three. But these three, I think, launched the entire platform that we now know and love as Dragonlance. And I think without them, we don't get all the other stuff that happened, some of which were fantastic, some of which were disappointing. We'll cover those as we get to them. But this trilogy, if you have not read it and you have read Chronicles, all I can say is if you send a Kender back in time, what could possibly go wrong, right? Okay, it's comic relief, but it's fantastic fun. So I think you'll enjoy it if you haven't read it. If you have read it, please comment below if you agree with me, disagree with me. But I think this one surpasses Chronicles in quality of writing, surely, and I think in world building it does as much as the Chronicles did. So I hope everybody has a great week. Click like, subscribe, follow, unlike, scream at me. I don't really care. But hey, let's have the conversation. But hey, if you have not read these, pick them up, give them a shot. They're worth reading.